Hello, today we will discuss Key Generation Service KGS. The requirements of the service is very simple. We need to generate unique keys across all the data centers. Scaling requirements are we need to handle 10 million requests per second at peak and 1 million requests per second on average. Non-functional requirement, very high consistency, no duplicate. So there should not be any duplicates across all the data centers. Very high availability, we should be able to handle the downtime of a particular location, and the service should be of low maintenance. Okay, so to run this service for 30 years we need at least 10 raised to power 15 unique keys. So we have to use 64-bit key because 2 raised to power 64 is 10 raised to power 19, but 2 raised to power 32 is less than the required number. So these are the APIs which the service will have. First is get single key. It will return one unique key, and the parameters to that API is namespace. Namespace defines the context in which a unique key is required. Two different namespaces can have duplicate keys. So for example, namespace A can have key equal to 1, and the namespace B can also have a key equal to 1. API key is required to authorize the clients for a namespace access. Client name, this will be required for the reporting and if you want to prioritize some clients. The second API is get key batch. This API will return multiple keys, multiple unique keys. The parameters are same except the batch size. So our first solution is the naive approach, where the client will hit the LB and LB will forward the request to application server. Application server will try to insert one value in database table, and on that database table there is an auto increment column. Database will return back the auto incremented value to the database server, to the application server, and application server will return back that value to the client. So now this approach has multiple problems. First is the database itself is a bottleneck. It is not extendable to multiple data centers. It will be very slow and not scalable at all because of synchronous replication, and the replication has to be synchronous. Otherwise, if the master database fail and we start using failover, there will be some records which are not yet replicated, and we will generate the duplicate keys. Okay, so option 2 is little better than option 1. Here the client will hit load balancer. Load balancer will forward the request to application server. Application server will generate the key and hit a distributed database which has a support to check whether that key exists or not, and if that key doesn't exist, it will store it and return true, else it will return false. And this check and set operation has to be atomic. If the database accepts the key, the application server will return back the generated key. Otherwise, the application server will again generate another key and check and set in database. So this approach has multiple problems. The first problem is, again, it is not extendable to multiple data centers. Non-deterministic latency, because so we are generating random keys, and these random keys might exist in database or not. There is a possibility that we generate 10 different random keys and all of them are present in database, and this latency will deteriorate with time. because more and more keys will be available in database after some time. Before moving to option 3, I want to mention option 2 is not bad if your QPS requirement is less. If your QPS requirement is less than 10 or sometime less than 100, this solution will work just fine. One big problem with this solution is that how to make the keys unique across data centers. There are two solutions to that. First, reserve some bits for each data center and insert the ID of the data center in those bits. The second solution is split the range of the keys among data centers beforehand. Now, both of these solutions are not generic. If you need to add more and more data center, at some point these will create the problems. They will be difficult to maintain. But if your requirements are not to add more and more data centers, I think this solution will work just fine. Range end, creation date, updation date, and is used. Is used is a flag which will specify whether that particular range chunk is used or not. App server will query the database for unused range. Database will find a range where is used is false, return it, and update the row. Update that row is used flag as false, as true. Sorry. So app server will first use the range that it has requested and request for a new range after the current range is finished. App server need to ensure it is not returning same value multiple times. What it means that database is returning one range of 100,000 the difference between the starting and the ending range is 100,000, and the app server need to ensure that it is using one number only once, and so that responsibility has now come to app server. Okay, so the range requirement for this type of storage is very less compared to other storages, because here we are not storing all the numbers, instead we are storing just the ranges. So for one namespace we will need 500 GB of unique data, and with replication, if with replication of 3 or 4, it might reach to 2 terabytes. Okay, so this is our final proposed design. Here the client will send a request to LB. LB will send a request to route server. The responsibility of the route server is, first it will route the request to the correct load balancer, whether it's a single call or a batch call. Second, it will authenticate the user, authorize the user, and do the rate limiting also. Now the single call LB and batch call LB will forward the request to app servers. App servers will use one of the number from the range which they have already got from the databases and return it. When the app server don't have any more number to use, it will fire a query to any of the databases through LB, get a range, and use that. Now these app servers will also log what all range values it has already used, and this will be very useful in debugging, for recording what all values has been used, and these logs can be a flat file logs and can be very fast. Okay, so what will happen if one of the services is down? So let's suppose that the batch service is down. So if the batch service is down, we will route the request. The routing service will route the request to some other region. Similarly, if any other service is down, let's say single call LB, single call service is down, then again it will route the request to another DC. And the client also needs to have the functionality to route the call to another DC if the routing service itself is down, or there is a network partitioning where the client cannot reach LB, and in that case the client has to redirect the call to another region. Okay, so there is another component to it. We need to maintain one highly consistent and reliable database, and this database will work like a global master. This don't have to be in a same region, in a single region. We can have this database in different regions. That's not a problem. Replicated across multiple regions. That's not a problem. We will schedule a job which will run daily and which will update the databases with which will insert the new ranges in all the databases that can be served for next few days. So there will be none of the database will be pre-populated with all the ranges. Instead, we will populate the databases every day to so that they can survive for next few days. This will be very useful if you want to add or remove database, right? Add or remove database, add or remove a region. Okay, these are some problems with the suggested approach. First is keys are predictable. So some clients will not clear it in security requirements because in security in some of the use cases we have to have a random keys. So our keys are not completely random. We can make it somewhat random by taking random ranges from database. It has more components than other approaches, which increase maintenance and monitoring requirements. Can cause a thundering herd and cascading effect when we redirect calls from one data center to another. This can be reduced by sending calls to all the regions instead of only one. Client also needs to be smart to redirect call to other data centers. Some of the ranges will not be utilized if the machine fail in between, but that will not impact us because we have decided to use 64-bit integer, and the range of a 64-bit integer is a lot more than what is required. Application logic is complex and it needs to handle concurrency and need to be tested more thoroughly. Verification if the key was actually returned or not cannot be done in real time. So these are few things which we haven't covered. First is monitoring and alerts. Second, reporting. Third, logging. We mentioned about rate limiting, but we haven't discussed how we will implement it. How we didn't discuss how to authorize the client. Pipeline to add new namespaces. That this is also very important when you are designing a system. That how the new namespaces will enter in your system. Process will populate the databases with new ranges. Please feel free to ask any question or doubt in the comments. I will try to answer as many as possible. Also, please mention that what are the other approaches that you will use to solve this problem.